Shabbat Shalom. Parashat Vayeira is riddled with uncertainty and stress. Strangers approach out of nowhere. Is this a threat? How does one react? The model we're given by Abraham and Sarah is by welcoming, by seeking peace with them. There is the threat of destruction of an entire community. What is the reaction of Abraham, who is presented to us almost as God's soulmate? His reaction is to seek fairness, to give the benefit of the doubt. He tries to count everyone who is worthy of being counted. In Parashat Vayeira, we see a situation where the stress and anxiety of domestic strife is present. What behavior do we witness in this situation? Do we see a response of turning one's back to the issues, ignoring the issues, or facing them head on and making tough decisions? In Parashat Vayeira, where we see that in the long run, the painful choice of rupture is sometimes the necessary choice, especially for those who are being victimized. It's painful, it's difficult, but the long game, the end goal, is one of peace and prosperity. So a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty in this week's parasha. So let me change modes for a moment. I hardly need to tell you that this past week has been riddled with uncertainty and stress for us too. No matter who you voted for, there are very few people who are feeling good or even great right now about where things currently stand, or even about the possible outcomes at this point. We would have wanted clarity. We would have wanted to know by this point what is the direction forwards. We would have wanted the candidate of our choosing to achieve a decisive victory, something that neither of the two is likely to accomplish at this point. Their victory is likely to be a narrow one. We learn this week that democracy is a fragile thing, but let's try to turn and focus on the positive of this situation, just like we see happening time after time in this week's parasha, where the road towards peace and prosperous outcomes is the chosen path. So how do we focus on what is going on? And certainly at the time of recording this on Friday morning, is an ongoing uncertainty as democracy faces its sometimes messy path. How do we find positive and already find prosperity and success in what has been accomplished thus far? So let me quote for you what NPR, National Public Radio, broadcast yesterday morning, what they called a segment they called Unique Diversity Milestones. Milestones that should give all of us goosebumps, no matter what side we find ourselves on, as they are startling and amazing evidence that democracy does work, it can work, that it is still alive and well in America, and is something that we will need to protect in the future. In Delaware, Sarah McBride won her Senate seat and became the first transgender state senator and highest-ranking openly transgender official in American history. Another first. In New York, two Democrats, Mondaire Jones and Richie Torres, became the first gay black members of Congress. Both are activists who grew up in poor single-parent households. Another first for democracy in America. Maureen Turner from Oklahoma hit 3 milestones this week. She became the country's first non-binary state legislator. She became Oklahoma's first Muslim legislator, and she became the first black person to represent that state's 88th district. Another first for democracy here in the United States this week. In Missouri, Cori Bush became the first black woman to win a House seat in the state after running for Congress a 3rd time. She first got into politics after the protests in Ferguson, Missouri that followed the police killing of Michael Brown. She's a single mom, an ordained pastor, and a nurse. She also survived COVID-19 earlier this year. And the last Democratic first, or the first for democracy, I should say, this week is that 2 Indian Americans, Jennifer Rajkumar and Zoran Mamdani, will be the first immigrants from Asia, South Asians, to represent the lower house of New York State Legislature. So let's celebrate democracy. Let's see that for the stress and uncertainty, that hopefully there are silver linings that we can find when we look hard enough. Let's remain vigilant and guard democracy from those who seek to violate it. And let's also stay sane, especially if you're feeling anxious about the uncertainty facing us right now. Give yourself a break. Get up from the TV or the radio or the internet. Go outside. Enjoy this gorgeous, unseasonably warm weather, and take a deep breath. Find the path forward of peace, the path forward of success and prosperity, even when it's hard. Shabbat Shalom.